You said Craig injected his own brother with drugs.
Well, he didn't inject him. What he did, he thought...
So Craig's brother now calls himself Brian Richardson. Yeah.
Brain damage, I call him.
I spoke to him a couple of weeks back. He rang me.
I've never met him. I've never seen him. I've never spoke to him. I didn't know he existed.
But he keeps popping up. So tell us a bit about Brian Rolfe, because
I don't know anything about him, but except for when Craig tried to kill him.
That's what happens, right? Your brother fucks you off and you just kill him, right?
Brian was asked to lend his car to his brother Michael to move some gear. And when Michael turned up and they were loading it in the car, the police were filming it from a house across the street. So it's fairly obvious he's grassed them up. So Craig has rung Brian up and said, we're going to rob this, a grow or rob someone anyway. So he said, be around the house at night, 9 o'clock or something. So Brian's turned up and they said, we'll have to wait, till it gets dark or whatever. And he goes, have a bit of speed while you're waiting. And he mixed it with Ribena and put it in a cup. Anyway, Brian drank it. And when he woke up, it was snowing in the house, he thought. He'd like give him loads of drugs in this cup, and they'd beat him. And he doesn't remember, but he ended up in his mother's house, and Craig had tried to kill him,
Wow. That's crazy. And what did he say to you, Lee, when he spoke to you the other week?
Well, he just rang me up and said, do you want some Ribena? No, he said, he just wanted to meet up with me and asked me about his brother. See, the weird thing is, he says really nice things like he really loves his brother and all that stuff, but on the other hand, you've got the feeling that there's something a little bit dodgy there, But he wants to meet up, we have a beer, just talk about his brother. So
he's openly saying that the police killed the Essex boys. He's actually said that, and he keeps saying it, and it's a bizarre statement to make, because...
But why would the police want to kill them three, right? This is true, right? They found the Range Rover. The driver's disqualified, so he hasn't even got a licence. The Range Rover's not taxed, and it's on the book.
But don't tell me he didn't have any MOT as well.
But, this ain't Pablo Escobar, They're just free...
Sounds like Del Boy.
Free chances.
I think if it was the police, they would have just made them vanish. They wouldn't have left them down there.
The police in the army don't shoot people with shotguns.
That's what I'm saying. If it was them, they would have just took the bodies away. You would never you'd be going, where are they now? Then who killed them?
Tate had only been in prison 6 weeks. You've got the Adams family and serious villains, If the police are going to take someone out like that.
There was quite a few people being killed off just before they died.
It's crazy to think there's probably been 100 books about the Essex boys. There's probably been 30 films. And if you think December the 6th, 1995, it's almost 30 years ago, and it's still going on.
Well, that's partly my fault, because...
Bernie.
When John Womes approached me and said, look, you know all the people, I don't know any of them, we're trying to get my brother out. I said, all right, we'll do it. And it's kind of unique in a way, because if you look on the internet for famous murders or infamous murders, there's none that had... like all the statements, all the crime scene photos, it was interesting shit, do you know what I mean? So it got a big sort of following from there. But the problem is that John never, ever gave... If you actually look at the evidence on the internet, it's all the defence, like the defence summing up at the trial and all. There's no prosecution stuff. So a lot of people now think... they've read the evidence, thinking they've read all the evidence, but they haven't even read half of it. They all think that they're innocent, do you know what I mean? But it's because they were mugged off, really.
Well, I had Holmes and Steele come to the club. They used to come to the club with their wives or girlfriends or whatever they were. And they used to queue up. They had suits on, they were smart, and they stood out. So I used to let them in, come in, get them in the VIP. And they came in quite a few times, and,
They're not as clever as they think. Yeah. Steele especially... everyone thinks he's really clever, but I was there at the Court of Appeal. they were arguing, saying, well, there's no snow on the Range Rover, so it could have only been there like for a few hours. And he's at the back of the court, Mr. Intelligent. He's going, no. The reason there's no snow on the Range Rover is because we washed it with glycerine 2 weeks before.
He's dropped himself in
And
it.
it stops ice forming, you know what I mean? He's a fucking retard, I think. I really do. I mean, some of the stuff he comes out of is just...
I mean, you know, there's been a massive campaign that obviously Micky, Steele and Jack Williams are innocent. There's obviously, I remember when we made Bonded by Blood, John phoned me up and said, Terry, why are you making this film? You know, it's my brother is innocent. He wants to get out of jail. This is going to basically, you know, throw him under a bus. And I said, John, in the film, we're going to leave it open-ended so that, you know, was it then, was it not? You know, so we actually was doing him a massive favour by not saying who did it. But I think, you know, the only people that really do know were obviously the people that were in the Range Rover. But I know you did say...
well, I disagree with you, Terry, because the evidence is it's concrete, do you know what I mean?
But what I'm saying
people
is,
haven't got access to it.
But what I'm saying is you've got lots of people that are advocates from being innocent. And what I'm saying is obviously you've seen the evidence, and I think when we spoke about it, you said that he did have an alibi, but then when they zoned in on the alibi, that he didn't have an alibi because of the, was it that he was watching the telly or something, wasn't he?
What happened was, like, the police had never used telephone evidence before, cell sites and all that. And this copper come up with the idea of this cell site evidence. So Steele and Williams remained no comment. And then they got charged, they got shipped off to jail. And then the prosecution served the evidence on them, and they thought, shit. Like Jack was going, I've never been to Retton. I've never, ever been there. I don't even know where it is, in his interviews. And they went, well, that's funny, because your phone's there on the night of the murder at the time. So they had to go away and cobble together a story, what fitted the prosecution's telephone evidence and all the rest of it. And it was absolute nonsense, do you know what I mean? You know, for instance, Jack Williams said he'd been asked to pick up Nichols's car, the Supergrass, and it was broken down on the pub next to the crime scene, right? And so it's snowing in December, and it's 6, 7 o'clock at night, pitch black, and you take a trailer from Ipswich to Rettendon, which is probably 50 miles, isn't it, Lee? In the dark, in the snow. And then when you get there, you put the car on, you take it all the way back to Ipswich. You just say, I ain't doing this in the dark, I'm doing it in the morning, do you know what I mean? But he said that's where he was, and it's just bullshit, do you know what I mean? He was there killing them, he weren't picking no car up. And everyone goes, there's no forensic on the car, no forensic, no fingerprints. Well, that's a really bad thing, actually, because after the murders, Jack sold that car to this guy, Kennedy. And he said, in his statement, he said, I went through the car to fix it because he reckons it was broke down. And I changed the oil and I did this and then I drove it to Kennedy's. Right, so he's working with oil in a car. He's driving it, but they didn't find a single fingerprint or a mess. He's obviously cleaned it before he's got rid of it, do you know what I mean? And when they say there's no forensic, they go, well, that's quite a damning thing to be, do you know what I mean? Because he's wiped it clean.
I think, so this is the other thing, because people only read stuff online, or they only hear a certain narrative.
Well, I'm a millionaire if you read online.
Oh yeah, Bernie's Bernie's actually the Bill Gates of the Essex boys.
I made millions out of them films, Terry.